Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram at Candy Washington. Let's go!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington, and I'm so grateful for this time that we have together. So don't forget to write. Well, yeah, you can write me if you want to, but don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share with a friend, because your journey to self-love and self-worth is always a little bit more joyful with a little bit more support. So yeah, let's dive into today's episode, which is 5 ways to self-forgiveness. I think this is one of the least talked about, but the most crucial part of any type of healing, any type of loving relationship that you are trying to cultivate with yourself, to any type of confidence, self-worth, deservingness, all of those things, that you're valuable and worthy, all of that. I think it really begins with being able to be compassionate and graceful and forgiving with yourself. I think this is such a crucial and meaningful part to anyone's journey to self-love and anyone's journey to healing. So with that, let's dive in. The first way to self-forgiveness, I believe, is to redefine what forgiveness is and why you need forgiveness. I think sometimes we think, well, if I need to forgive myself or I need to forgive someone, it means that I did something wrong. We quickly jump to blame, shame, mistakes, being wrong, guilt, fault, all of those things we kind of tie into needing forgiveness. Well, if I need to forgive myself, that means I must have done something wrong. But that's not true. Self-forgiveness, and by no means, is saying that you are at fault or you're wrong or to criticize or to judge yourself. Self-forgiveness just means that you're forgiving yourself because in any moment you forgot your intrinsic value and worthiness and lovability. Doesn't mean it was your fault what happened. Doesn't mean we're blaming ourselves or shaming ourselves or guilting ourselves. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I allowed this to happen. Oh, I can never forgive myself for this. No, just in that moment, you forgot your worthiness and value. You made a choice or you made a mistake. And sometimes we need to forgive ourselves, not even for what we did. Sometimes we need to forgive ourselves for what others did to us. And we're still holding on to it. Sometimes we need to forgive ourselves for ever thinking that it was our fault, or for thinking that we were less than or not good enough. Sometimes that's what we need to forgive ourselves for. But we need to redefine why we need self-forgiveness. It's not making ourselves wrong. It's not blaming. It's not faulting. It's nothing to do with criticizing. It's just giving ourselves grace and compassion that within any given moment, we were separated from our intrinsic worthiness, and that we can forgive ourselves for. But that leads me into number 2. Make a list. Sometimes we are holding on to and harboring these feelings of self-hate and self-loathing and unforgiveness of ourselves, and we don't even realize it. So I would say break out your journal and write down, you can do some prompted journals. One could be, I need to forgive myself for ... and then just let it flow. Don't edit yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Don't stop yourself. Just get still, connect to your inner intuition, to your inner wisdom, your inner guidance, and to say, I need to forgive myself for, and just let it flow. Make that list. Just let it flow out. See what comes up for you. It could be for putting myself in the wrong situation for X, Y, and Z. For when this person did this to me, I made it about my value and worthiness as a person. I need to forgive myself for thinking that I was ever broken, that I was not good enough. I need to forgive myself for doing this, blah, 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 whatever it is. Make that list out of the things that you need to forgive yourself for. You can also make another list. When I make a mistake, I feel ... When you make a mistake, do you feel stupid, dumb, like an idiot, not good enough, not worthy, lacking, less than, all of those things? How do you feel when you make a mistake? All of those things you need to forgive yourself for feeling about yourself because you made a mistake. So make that list, get it out of you. Bring whatever that you are harboring against yourself in your subconscious mind, bring it out to the forefront, because you can't heal it until you see it. You can't forgive it until you name it. So get it out of you and make those lists. The third, embrace your humanity. You are a human being. And by that mere fact, you are imperfect. You will make the wrong choices. You will make bad decisions. And I don't want to say bad things will happen to you, because I'm not trying to affirm that for anyone. But a part of this human experience, unfortunately, or fortunately, if it leads to a higher level of consciousness, but you will experience loss. You will experience some form of trauma. You will experience some form of pain or hurt. That is intrinsically baked into our human experience. You know, it's like that saying, nobody gets out alive, right? So that will happen, whether it's by your own hand, by the decisions you made, or by the decisions that other people made and then imposed upon you. So embrace that you are human, because thinking that you don't deserve forgiveness, or thinking that you're not allowed to make a mistake, or thinking that you have to be perfect, is really saying that you think that you have to be beyond human. It's really taking away your own humanity if you really think about it. Because the essence of being a human being is being imperfect. No human being is perfect. So why are you holding yourself to a literally unachievable standard? As a human being, you're not just allowed to make mistakes, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a wrong turn. You're going to make a bad decision. You're going to choose incorrectly. Things will happen to you that are scary and painful and traumatic. You sometimes by no fault of your own, usually by no fault of your own, that will happen as well. So don't put yourself in a position to think that somehow you're above the human experience. Because when you put yourself above the human experience, you take yourself out of that space of compassion, of grace, of empathy, of love, of understanding, of forgiveness. So embrace your humanity. Embrace your mistakes. Embrace your faults. Face your traumas and your pains and your hurts and your losses. Face them in order to heal them. And a big part of healing is forgiving yourself. Even if you weren't the person who did something to you, usually at some point in that, you felt what they did to you made you less lovable or unlovable, less worthy, less deserving, broken, damaged, any of those things. So you're not forgiving yourself because those things happened to you. You're forgiving yourself that you forgot that no matter what, you are still whole, you are still complete, You are still worthy. You are still valuable. You are still lovable. You are still deserving. You're forgiving yourself for being disconnected to your intrinsic worthiness. You're forgiving yourself for giving away your power to somebody else. And when I say that, I don't mean you gave away your power and that's why someone did something to you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you gave away your power because even though someone did something to you, you're letting what they did to you define who you are, your wholeness, right? That's what I mean by that. So embrace your humanity. There's nothing more like loving and sweet than being able to hold yourself with self-compassion and grace and love and forgiveness. So with that, it's the fourth thing, which is become your own best friend. Cultivate a loving relationship with your inner critic. Because we all have that inner critic. We all have that voice. You trying to lose those 5 pounds, but what? So why are you eating this pasta? Oh, you knew he was the wrong guy from you, but yet you still dated him. Oh, you know, like you knew you should have invested in that stock, but you didn't. Now you missed out on all this money. You know, whatever it is. You know, whatever that inner critic is saying to you. You went right when you should have went left. You went up when you should have went down. You said no when you should have said yes. You're too this, you're too that. You're not enough of this, you're not enough of that. Whatever that nasty, judgmental, blame, shame, guilt inner critic that you have, you want to cultivate a loving relationship with it and become your own best friends. When those nasty thoughts come up about yourself, you can say, hey, I know you're saying that, but that's actually not true about who I am. I'm actually this, and this. I'm still worthy of love and deserving and all of those different things. So you can kind of talk to your critic. You can name your critic and be like, okay, negative Nancy, I don't need you anymore. Thank you for your opinion, but I don't need you. I got this. Cultivate a relationship with your inner critic. Don't let your inner critic run you. You check your inner critic. It's just thoughts. It's just thoughts in your head. And when you have one of those negative, nasty inner critic thoughts come up, examine the thought and choose to let it go. They're just thoughts. Be observant of your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. So cultivate a relationship with that inner critic. Have affirmations and mantras that come up. If your inner critic negative thoughts start to come up, start to say to yourself, I am always worthy and deserving. Or whatever it is, you know, whatever bucket it is, create those affirmations, create those mantras to dead in the tracks and to replace that negative inner critic and become your own best friend. When you have those nasty thoughts come up, think to yourself, would I talk to my best friend this way? Would I talk to a child this way? So why am I talking to myself this way? Hey, thought, I know you're coming up, but I choose to love myself. I choose to forgive myself. I choose to be compassionate and graceful and loving towards myself. Create a relationship with that inner critic. Become your own best friend. Be observant of your thoughts and change the thoughts that you're thinking. You have the power to be self-aware and to be conscious of what you're saying to yourself. Because when you start to love yourself and you start to be mindful of the way that you talk to yourself, then of course you're able to forgive yourself. Because you know that you're worthy of it. And you know that there's nothing wrong with you. You deserve it. So cultivate a relationship with your inner critic and become your own best friend and be mindful of your thoughts. And then last, repeat as needed, right? Because we all know that forgiving yourself is a lifestyle. It's a lifelong thing. You don't just wake up one morning and you're like, okay, I've done all this great work. I forgive myself. Bing, we're done. Never going to have to do this again. Wrong. As long as you have breath, as long as you are living, as long as you have experiences, things will continue to come up. You'll continue to make mistakes. Things will continue to happen to you. But as you cultivate this loving relationship with yourself, It'll get easier and quicker for you to forgive yourself, to let go of things, to redefine what forgiveness means for you, to embrace your own humanity, and to be mindful of the way you talk to yourself, and to be conscious of that, and to give yourself all of those things that you so freely give to others, such as love, compassion, and grace and forgiveness. So repeat as needed. Don't beat yourself up when you find yourself slipping back into bad, negative thinking. Don't beat yourself up when you make a mistake. Don't beat yourself up when you make a wrong choice. Don't beat yourself up when you're faced with a trauma that may or may not even be by your own making, a pain or a loss. Know that you're a human being, and this is a part of the human experience. And forgive yourself for forgetting how worthy and valuable and whole you are, regardless of any mistake that you have made or someone else has made, regardless of any external circumstances. Forgive yourself for that. And remember, you're going to have to repeat this as needed. It may get easier, but it will always be needed. As long as you are alive, as long as you're a human being, you will be inherently imperfect, but you are intrinsically worthy and valuable. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be here. And that in and of itself makes you valuable. So there you have it. Those are my 5 ways or steps, whatever you want to call it, to self-forgiveness. Redefine what it means to forgive yourself. Let go of blame, shame, guilt, criticism, judgment, fault. Make a list. Make that subconscious, let your consciousness flow, that list. I need to forgive myself for when I make a mistake, I feel, and let it flow. So you could identify it and name it, address it, and then release it. Embrace your humanity. We're not put on this earth to be perfect. We are imperfect beings. Making a mistake is natural. Point blank, period. It's natural. It's literally in our DNA. You're going to make mistakes. Embrace your humanity. 4, become your own best friend. Cultivate a loving relationship with your inner critic. You are the thinker of your thoughts. Be mindful, be conscious. When that negativity inner thoughts come up, change the conversation. Have your affirmations, have your mantras. Know your worthiness or not. Your worthiness is still there no matter what. Cultivate a different relationship with your inner critic. Name it. You manage it. Don't let your thoughts run you. You run your thoughts. And then 5, repeat. Repeat as needed. Give yourself grace and compassion. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. So do it as much as you need to. Do that list. Give yourself self-forgiveness. Work on your self-talk. This is a lifestyle. It's not an event. So if you had any aha moments or light bulb moments during this episode, be sure to find me over on Instagram at Candy Washington. Give me a follow, shoot me a DM, tag me, and I will be sure to show you some love. Don't forget to check out the description box or the show notes where you get some free goodies and everything that we have going on. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. Until next time, be well and take care of yourself and each other. Bye.
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram at Candy Washington. Let's go!